Hi there, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to have a look at Laravel Forge, how we can deploy a Laravel Reverb project onto it. I gave a talk at Laracon EU beginning of February about my frustrated Bob talk, which I'm also giving in India in the beginning of March. And one of the people in the audience came up to me saying, hey, I can't deploy my Reverb project onto Forge. I explained it to him, but here it is how we can do that. Yeah, here we go. Let's dive into it and let's install it together. Here we go. All right, so I have my test server over here over at Forge, which is using the DigitalOcean. I also have my repo over here for the Reverb example. Let's just create a new site like testbert.gent. We're going to isolate it, and we're also going to give it a database testbert.gent. There we go. Add the site, and once the site is added to our environment, we can start configuring the repository and stuff like that. All right, so the site is configured. We can add a Git repository. Just paste the name of the repo in here. It automatically detects the namespacing for it, and I'm going to choose the branch Reverb example. I'm going to generate a token for me here and to implement into our repository as well. Just copy that and put it into the settings, deploy keys, add a deploy key, and I'm going to call it Forge. Paste that in, hit add key. The key has been added. All right, let's head over to Forge again and well, just install the repo. And that will be installing, prefetching everything, but it won't deploy just yet. We need to adjust a few things before we can deploy our application to our Forge setup. All right, so it installed our repository. We also automatically see we have the Reverb enabled here because it was installed into our environment. But what I like to do, because I'm using Faker, I like to just copy this here, put that into comments, and remove the no dev because I will be needing Faker to seed my database. And I also want npm install, and I also want npm run build, and just update that. There we go. Once that's been updated, I can now safely deploy my repository, and that's queued. And if I head over to deployments, you can see here that it's actively deploying our application into our server. So this could take a while, not too long. You can also see down here in the bottom that it's deploying, and once it's done, this will be resolved into a finished installation or a finished deployment. Just like that, like it's finished. Next up, we need to have like our domain name testbert.gent to be mapped via DNS towards our server. I already done that, so we can safely request an SSL certificate. So, but before doing that, I also want to have my WebSocket in here. So I need to start Reverb first. So let's just enable Reverb by switching the simple toggle over here, and this will use port 8080 for WS testbert.gent. All right, so let's start the Reverb. This will take a while. All right, it's installed, and as you can see, if I go to deployment, it added Forge Artisan Reverb Restart, and into the environment, it will be having added some other stuff in here like this. The Reverb credentials, all the good stuff is in here as well. And if I now go to SSL, I can request a certificate, remove the www because we're not going to use that, and obtain a certificate. This way we're going to have a certificate for the main domain and the ws.domain. All right, so as you can see, this is activating already. We already have a path to our SSL certificate, and now it is active. Cool. So we did an adjustment to the environment we installed with nodev. So we have our factories working. So let's head over to commands. So let's go for PHP artisan migrate fresh -- seed -- force, and I'm using force here because our environment is a production environment. Otherwise, we will get the question, hey, are you sure you want to migrate fresh on a production server? And because this is a CLI command, I can't answer that question. So force skips that question for us. So let's run this. This will run for a few seconds, and afterwards we will have our database seeded with everything that's in our seeders using the factory, which has a faker which we needed with the nodev. All right, so this is failing. Let's see why. Okay, method not allowed. All right, cool. Method not allowed. This is fine. We need to adjust our environment because we have Reverb on 8080. We need to 443. And I want this over HTTPS as well. Let's save that. And let's run the migration again. Let's rerun that. And let this run for a few seconds. All right, that finished. Let's see the output. And this actually seeded our database pretty neatly. All right, so I have my SSL certificate at the ready. I have Reverb running. We can check that in the server itself. It has a daemon running for test Bert Gent as a user, which is running, which is cool. Let's head over here. Okay, so there's one more thing we need to do. We need to redeploy the entire repository because after we installed SSL, HTTPS, we need to Reverb restart because Reverb wasn't aware SSL was available and the channel needs to be re-implemented, of course. So whenever this is done, we could open up the browser to navigate to the project. All right, so that's done. Let's open up a new tab and navigate to testbert.gent and log in with Bob at bobscompany.com. There we go. All right, so Bob is signed in, and let's open an incognito tab like that, and also to test Bert Gent, and let's sign in with Jess at bobscompany.com, like so. All right, so if I now head over to tasks and I select the first one and I add it to Jazz and assign the task to her, Reverb will instantly broadcast it and update the tasks of Jess. If I head back to Jess and I just assign the status to doing or maybe review, add Bob's overview, this will be instantly changed to review. And that's actually it. That's how easy it is to set up Forge with Reverb and have everything real time working like a charm. I'm a big fan of Reverb, as you all know, and I'm a big fan of Forge. So yeah, if you have any questions about this, and be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in one of the next videos. Take care. Bye bye.